clownfish. Today I'm going to read a story to you by one of my favourite authors. The title of this story is Katie and the Dinosaurs, and there's a little message inside. It says, "For Mrs Goodeal and all in reception," from James Mayhew. And James Mayhew is the author, and he's drawn a clue to tell us what the story is about. "Come and look, Grandma. Come and see the dinosaurs," said Katie. Katie loved the Natural History Museum, and she wanted to show her grandma everything. "They're just a load of old bones," said Grandma. "Well, you're really old," said Katie. "There must have been dinosaurs alive when you were little. Have you ever been to the Natural History Museum?" "I'm not that old," snorted Grandma, looking for somewhere to sit down. They found a seat next to a skeleton of a very fierce-looking dinosaur. That's a Triceratops. "Why don't you go and look at your horrible dinosaurs while I have 40 winks," said Grandma. "They're not horrible," sniffed Katie. "But I do wish they weren't just skeletons," and she skipped off on her own, taking her picnic lunch with her, just in case she got hungry. Katie saw all sorts of dinosaurs. Some had spikes, others had horns or wings, or long tails. She closed her eyes and tried to imagine they were alive. She thought they must have been very frightening with their sharp teeth and claws. Next to one of the dinosaurs was a corridor. Katie set off down it to make sure she hadn't missed anything worth seeing. The corridor was long and dark, and there was no one in sight. Katie began to feel scared. She looked for a way out sign, but there didn't seem to be one. She was lost. "Now what do I do?" said Katie crossly. She came to a big door with a notice on it that said, "Absolutely no admittance whatsoever." "I'll just take a quick look," said Katie, and she opened the door and stepped through. The door led outside, and there in front of her was a dinosaur. It was no bigger than Katie, but it was a real, live one. "Hello," said Katie. "Who are you?" "Hadrosaurus," said the dinosaur. "Who are you?" "I'm Katie," said Katie, "and I think I'm lost." "I'm lost too," said Hadrosaurus. "I was chased by a Tyrannosaurus Rex." "Isn't that a really fierce dinosaur?" asked Katie. "That's right," said Hadrosaurus. "Now I don't know how to get home." "Don't worry," said Katie. "I'll be able to see where we are from the top of this hill," and she clambered up a steep slope. "This isn't a hill," said Hadrosaurus, scrambling up behind her. "I wonder what it is." Katie gasped. "Oh, it's an Apatosaurus!" She was very high up and she could see for miles. "Now, show me where you live," said Katie. "I think it's somewhere over there, along the riverbank," said Hadrosaurus. Katie looked across the river. "What are those funny-looking birds?" she asked. "Pterosaurs," said Hadrosaurus. "Watch out!" One of the pterosaurs spotted Katie's yellow scarf. It swooped down towards her, and before Katie could duck, it had snatched the scarf from her. "Hey, that's mine! Bring it back!" yelled Katie. But the pterosaur flew far away, and the Apatosaurus started moving. She was getting fed up with those two noisy creatures jumping about on her back. The Apatosaurus lumbered down to the river for a nice, cool bathe. She was so huge that Katie and Hadrosaurus just clung on and hardly got wet at all. Katie looked across the water. All sorts of strange creatures were swimming there. She recognised some of them from the museum. The Ichthyosaurus, with their long snouts, and the Plesiosaurus, with its snake-like neck. Before long, the Apatosaurus reached the edge of the water. "Let's go," said Katie, followed by Hadrosaurus. She slid all the way down to the tip of the Apatosaurus's tail, and they landed in a giggling heap on the ground. "Which way now?" "Into the jungle," said Hadrosaurus. The jungle was hot and sticky. Through the trees, Katie could see a herd of enormous dinosaurs. "What on earth are those?" asked Katie. "I don't like the look of them." "Only Stegosaurus," said Hadrosaurus. "They won't hurt us." "Are you sure?" said Katie, as one Stegosaurus licked its lips. "Oh, yes, they only eat plants," said Hadrosaurus. Do you know what an animal is called if it only eats plants? Maybe you could find out. So Katie gave them some grass, and they went on through the jungle. Suddenly, Hadrosaurus let out a squeal. There was his family. They hugged him, and they hugged Katie too for bringing him home. "I hope you're not going to eat me," worried Katie. "Of course not," said Hadrosaurus. "We're plant eaters too." They reminded Katie that she hadn't eaten her lunch yet. She was feeling quite hungry by now, but she politely shared her cucumber sandwiches and chocolate biscuit. She saved her meat pie for later. Plant-eating dinosaurs from far and wide picked up the smell of Katie's sandwiches and padded across the rocks towards her. There was a spiky Stranchosaurus and a Triceratops with its horns, the Iguanodon with its sharp thumbs, and all kinds of Ankylosaurus. The dinosaurs shook some strange-looking fruits out of the trees, and they all ate until they were full. It was the best picnic Katie had ever had. They're all plant eaters. Suddenly, another dinosaur crashed out of the jungle. It was Tyrannosaurus Rex! He had been following Katie and Hadrosaurus. He grunted and growled and ground his teeth and swished his tail and stamped his scaly feet. He was hungry. And he didn't want cucumber sandwiches or chocolate biscuits. He wanted meat. He wanted Katie. "Quick! Run for your life!" said Hadrosaurus. I wonder what a meat-eating animal is called, like Tyrannosaurus. Tyrannosaurus Rex thundered after Katy and the dinosaurs as they ran through the jungle towards the river. Katy was out of breath, but she kept on running. At last, she could see the museum ahead of her. If only she had stayed safely inside. Then she remembered the meat pie. She tore open her lunchbox and threw a piece at the Tyrannosaurus Rex. The Tyrannosaurus stopped in his tracks. He sniffed the piece of pie. He ate it up. He liked it so much that Katy threw him the rest, even though she had been saving it for herself. And the Tyrannosaurus Rex padded off into the jungle again, clutching Katy's lunchbox. Phew! That was close, said Katy. It was getting late now, so Katy turned up to say goodbye to the Hadrosaurus. I do wish you could come home with me, she said, but Grandma would only scream and make a fuss. I'm happy here with my family anyway, said Hadrosaurus. He gave Katy a lick. Thank you for helping me find them. Bleh! Spluttered Katy, as the dinosaurs have very sloppy tongues. Then she went back through the museum door. This time, Katy easily found her way back to Grandma, who was waiting where she had left her. Where on earth have you been? Asked Grandma. I've seen all kinds of dinosaurs, said Katy. Why don't you come and have a look too? All right, said Grandma. Where do we start? This way, said Katy, and taking her hand, off they went. So that was the story, Katy and the Dinosaurs, and the author was James Mayhew. I wonder if you can find out the names of animals that eat plants and the names of animals that eat meat. And maybe you could leave a message for me below. Bye!